All right, we are here. Welcome. I hope you're having a good evening. We are here to do another news roundup where we talk about different news stories going on and we get your comments and we hear from you. That's a big part of the news roundup. So we are here live. Good to see you all. And big thanks to our moderators. We got Sarah55, Lizzie, Mark Helton. They're all moderating there. Thank you for modding. We got our other moderators on our other platforms as well. And we're going to get to some news in a second. Let's see here. And hello everybody on Twitch, like Kin Picky and Phoenix Star, Happy Slappy, Kaya's Name, Jodapo, Tomer, Dennis, Brenda Bradley, Ricky Field, Lou Hastings, Geologist, everybody in our YouTube chat as well. Okay. All right, so what I want to start with is, first of all, I want to let you know this. So in case you didn't know, we actually did a stream on Myanmar, and it was really early in the morning. We did this stream this morning at about, I think we came on at 4:45 a.m. And we covered it until about 6 a.m. So you might not know that we did a stream about Myanmar. The most violent day of the Myanmar protest was today. The last number I saw was it was up to at least 38 people had been killed in the protests. You had a military coup in Myanmar. The military took power, and they've been firing on protesters. And the worst days have been Sunday and today. So we covered this, and we came on here about 4:45. But I don't know what's going to happen in Myanmar I'm getting confused about the days. Today is what, Tuesday or what? Today is Wednesday, I'm sorry. So I don't know what's going to happen in Myanmar on Thursday. I believe the time in Myanmar, it's like morning there. 8:14 a.m. When they have protests there, the protests are usually during the day. So if there is going to be big news coming out of the protests, I would assume it would happen between like 10 and 4 their time. So it's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And if there's big news, maybe we'll do another Myanmar stream live. I just don't know, but the timing is so weird because it's such a big time difference. But usually, from my recollection, if there's bad stuff going on involving the protests, involving like the army attacking the protesters, that has tended to happen, between like 10, 11, and 4 p.m. their time. 10, 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. their time. So I'll keep an eye out for it. I just don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen there today. So, but it's certainly something I am keeping an eye on. And we'll talk, in this stream. We'll talk about it some in this stream too. We'll give you some updates about that. Rita's Real says, I had just fallen asleep and missed the 4 a.m. stream. I got to go back and watch. Yeah, it was actually, I think, 4:45 a.m., 4:30 a.m. or 4:45 a.m. It was late. So, but it's really bad what's going on there. So that's certainly something I'm going to keep an eye out on. Hurricane, we can see your comments. Dave NW, how are you? Tammy says, I fell asleep waiting for it. Well, it was pretty late. But again, I'm keeping an eye on it. So, hey, thanks, by the way, for your support. Thank you so much, Hetty Silovitz. I appreciate that, Hetty Silovitz. Thank you, Hetty. And thank you so much, Patty Huddleston Looney, for the Facebook stars. Thank you. Bud Green is moderating, too. Thank you, Bud Green, for moderating. Christopher, we'll talk about there's a possible volcano in Iceland that might happen soon. It might start erupting soon. but it's not supposed to be any kind of serious threat to people or buildings or anything. So we'll talk about that as well. Maybe we'll start by talking about the possible Iceland volcano. Why not start by talking about the possible volcano in Iceland? That's a good thing to start talking about. I saw an article about it. Scientists in Iceland say strong signs volcanic eruption is imminent. Several days of tremors near Mount Kellir indicated it's more likely than not an eruption is about to begin. Now, something you should be aware of, though, and I'll show you. I believe this is the article I read before in The Guardian. And something the article mentions is that this is not supposed to be a threat to people or towns. If it does erupt, it's not supposed to be an explosive eruption. It's going to be more the kind of thing like, if you remember a few years ago in Hawaii, we covered the volcano there on the big island of Hawaii. That was not an explosive eruption. That was the lava was just flowing slowly out of the ground kind of thing. So sometimes these volcanic eruptions are explosive and stuff flies out over huge different distances really fast. Sometimes eruptions are not like that, and the lava it's much more slow. So this is supposed to be, if it does erupt, like a slower eruption with the lava flowing slowly out. So just to be clear, this is not any kind of big public risk to public health or some kind of serious emergency there in terms of threatening people and property and that kind of thing. But it could erupt. So will it affect planes, says Arizona Jumper? I think the article says, but I believe this article talks about how, I think in 2010 they had an eruption that really affected air travel, but I believe in not just in Iceland, in other countries too. But this is not supposed to be like that. So not that I'm aware, but let me show you this. This is actually a good article if this is the right one. Scientists in Iceland have said there are strong signs a volcanic eruption may be underway following several days of near constant seismic activity near Mount Kellir, about 20 miles south of the capital, Reykjavik. Vjorrenesen, so 20 miles away from the capital, Reykjavik. Vjorrenesen of the island's Civil Defense Force told a mid-afternoon news conference it was more likely than not that an eruption, the first in the area since the 12th century. How about that? An eruption is when lava actually comes out of the ground, if I understand that right. So an eruption doesn't have to be explosive. If you have lava slowly coming out of the ground, that counts as erupting. But this would be the first eruption in the area since the 12th century. It could happen in the next few hours. But Velour said there is no disaster going on and everyone can get on with their daily lives. There was no immediate danger, he said, although people should avoid traveling to the area on the Reykjanes Peninsula. This is Mount Kellir. Kellir, summit in Iceland. It's very interesting, though. There has been no eruption in the area since the 12th century. So this is where we're talking about. There's Iceland. There's mainland Europe. There's Iceland, okay? And then if we do this, satellite. There's Reykjavik, the capital. And then this is Mount Kellir. There it is. Right here. Kellir. Melissa says, a dormant volcano? I believe so, because there hasn't been an eruption since the 12th century. Let's see what Wikipedia says about Mount Kellir. No, I want Kellir. Hold on. Kellir, Iceland. It's not even Mount Kellir, it's just Kellir. Kellir is a Pleistocene subglacial mound. This would be, if there's a volcanic eruption, it would be the first in the area since the 12th century. They're probably quoting the same article. And And then that's a picture of Clear from Wikipedia. How about that? When's the last time it erupted? I'm gonna see if it has a history of this. Let's see. Clear was formed during a subglacial fissure eruption, which concentrated in the end of one event. Except the core. So this was formed from an eruption, but that had to be centuries ago. It's pretty fascinating. Let's go back to the article here. Thousands of tremors measuring up to 5 on the Richter scale have been recorded on the peninsula during the past week. Oh, we'll show you that too. This geophysicist said if the eruption came, the eruption could also be delayed by several days. If magma reaches the surface, Freistein said, it is unlikely to be in the form of an explosion of lava and ash shooting into the sky, but rather what is known as a fissure eruption in which lava emerges more slowly from a crack in the Earth's surface. So you shouldn't expect some huge eruption with huge, crazy explosion and stuff going way up in the sky explosively. Don't expect that. There is unlikely to be a repeat of the chaos in 2010 when the 6-day explosive eruption of the more southerly, I don't know how to pronounce that volcano, caused huge disruption to international air travel, affecting as many as 10 million travelers. This event is completely different to the 2010 volcano, Freistein said. It is very unlikely that it will disrupt air transport. This will probably be a lava eruption with little explosive activity. Any lava flows near Mount Clear are unlikely to reach populated areas, experts have said, but they could interrupt air traffic to and from Keflavik International Airport. So they could interrupt some traffic to the airport, which is only 12 miles from Clear. There is also a chance the road access to the airport could be cut off by lava flows, prompting authorities to drop up contingency plans to divert flights and passengers to the island's other airports. It's very, very interesting. But it would be the first eruption in the area since the 12th century. I'm going to check out what Volcano Discovery says about this, but I want to hear from you guys as well. I'll also show you what the tremors have been. Melissa McQueen says, so a dormant volcano. I don't know if it counts as that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a dormant volcano is a specific technical term which scientists would use and if they would apply to this. I mean, I know when we look up Wikipedia, it doesn't say volcano, but it also hasn't erupted since the 12th century. The 12th century. That's like the 1100s. Crazy. Oops. Here we go. Luke, you are saying the same thing again and again in the chat. Please do not repeat comments in the chat, because then everybody has to read them again and again and again. Thank you. McCutcheon says, possible eruption. Corwin says, lots of smoke and a lot of lava, pretty cool, but not really deadly. Shaggy says, nothing like a good volcano to break up the monotony. Robert Kennedy says, news says could erupt at any minute. Let's also check out what Volcano Discovery is a good site. Let's just check out USGS too. We'll check out USGS, earthquakes. USGS earthquakes. So we'll do a little earthquake search here. We need to do an earthquake search. So what we need to do is search earthquake catalog. Okay, so we say, let's go for 2.5 or more past 30 days, custom Draw rectangle on map. So I have to draw a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle around Iceland. And then, hold on. Let's do this. Why is it not letting me do this? Where's Iceland? This always is harder than I think it's going to be. Here we go. All right, specify a region. It says specify a region. Click to start the point. Oops, I might have not done it right. Remove rectangle. Try this one more time. Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? It's so, every time I use this thing, it's like, it's just so hard. It's so hard. Just remove. I can't even click on remove. Okay. I think I got it. It's very non-intuitive. Use this region. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do search. Okay, good. It worked. It finally worked. So there's Iceland. There's Reykjavik. And that's where, here we go, right here. Keilir is right around here. So all of these are earthquakes that have happened in the last 30 days. And you can see there's a 4.7, 4.9, 4.8, 4.7, 4.9, 4.8, 4.6, 4.3, 4.6, 5.2. And this is all like this is all the last week. These are all the last week. And then this is the week before. The week before last week, there are these ones. So lots of earthquakes going on in the area. Alibaba mentioned dormant volcano. Let's look up what the definition of a dormant volcano is. Oops. This is from National Geographic. Dormant volcanoes are classified as active, dormant, or extinct. Active volcanoes have a recent history of eruptions. They are likely to erupt again. Dormant volcanoes have not erupted for a very long time, but may erupt at a future time. Extinct are not expected to erupt in the future. And then let's look up Volcano Discovery. Montpelier says they've had thousands in the past few days. Smaller thousands. That's what Montpelier says. Yeah, I did a search for 2.5 and higher. All right, here's Volcano Discovery. They should have it. Oh, I've been spelling it wrong. Keilir. It's Keilir. Find it. It's giving me all these earthquakes. But I want the volcano. Oh, is this it here? So this says Krusuvik Volcano. Krusuvik is a system of eruptive fissures, craters, and small basalt shields in Southwest Island. A large eruption occurred from a fissure in 1188. So I don't know if this includes Keilir. Looks like the right area, but I don't know. Yeah, Oi Mao said Keilir is not a volcano. So Keilir is not described as a volcano, I know, on Wikipedia. So I'm a little confused about the terminology here. What does it say here? Yes, Mount Clear is located within the area of the Krisuvik volcanic system. That's it. The volcanic system of Krisuvik is situated in the southwest of Iceland. Eruptions. There are at least 10 eruptions of this volcanic system in the last 8,000 years. All of the eruptions, the most recent eruptions in the system were in the Middle Ages. But there might be another eruption there. It's pretty crazy. So it's this system. That's it. That's the right system. Give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter. So that's that. It's pretty interesting because normally when we hear about volcanoes, we don't hear about how. I can't remember the last time we covered a volcano and we were talking about, oh well, it's this area that hasn't had a volcano since the 1100s. Alibaba says it's a 5-kilometer fissure, 1 meter wide so far as of today. I haven't seen that. Let me see if I can find anything else about it. This is from Forbes. Rumbling Reykjanes volcano in Iceland. Reykjanes? I don't even know how you pronounce this. Doesn't even say. I'll say Reykjanes. Rumbling Reykjanes volcano in Iceland could erupt at any minute. Oh, I got to follow the Iceland Meteorological Office on Twitter. I'm going to follow them. 6 hours ago, they posted. Let's see what they said. Tremor pulse detected at 1420 is measured at most simultaneous pulse located south of Clear. Similar signals have been observed leading up to eruptions, but no eruption has been confirmed. We are working on further analysis of the pulse. So this is the Iceland Meteorological Office. That was 6 hours ago. And this Forbes article says a sudden increase on tremors on Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula, which connects the island's capital of Reykjavik to the main international airport at Keflavik, has officials warning of a possible imminent volcanic eruption. As of this writing, the intensity of the tremors has eased slightly, but as a precaution, the volcanic aviation color code for the area has been changed to orange, which means heightened unrest. And it is just one level below red, which means an ongoing volcanic eruption. Oi says Reykjanes is the peninsula. I wonder if Robin George Andrews has posted anything about this. He posts about and writes about volcanoes. Has he posted anything about this? Okay, yeah, here's Robin George Andrews. He says, this is pretty exciting. An eruption in this area is far from any densely populated regions, so on the face of it, this isn't something to fret about, but let's see. Might not even get an eruption. Lots of volcanoes ramp up, but fake out at the end. He's a volcano expert. Oh, is Mao from Iceland? Aoi says, I am from Iceland. I visited Iceland years ago. It was fun. It was great. I went in like December. It was totally dark out for like 23 hours a day. Hey, thanks, by the way, Tony Del Monte, for your support. I appreciate that, Tony. Thank you. Ashley Stevie says, sounds like Reykjanes. Alfie says, I am also from Iceland. Interesting. Maybe we'll cover it if it happens. One of our viewers wanted me to look up the statement, I believe, from the Iceland Meteorological Authority. Diana L. Let me look that up. Is this going to be in English or not? Let's see. I'm going to have to translate it. Oh, I got to translate it. English. Volcanic eruptions will probably not threaten settlements. This is the last post they made. Blah, 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 blah. About 1,700 earthquakes have been recorded since midnight. I guess these are, most of them, small tremors. The largest of 4 point. So in the last day, about 1,700 earthquakes have been recorded, they say. The smallest was magnitude 4 point. The largest was magnitude 4.1. Measurements do not, and this was posted today also, measurements do not give clear indications as to whether and when magma will reach the surface. Volcanic eruptions will probably not threaten settlements. Anyways, if you want to look at all this information, this is this is the Iceland Meteorological Authority. Our viewer Aoi, who is in, if I'm pronouncing that right, in Iceland says, I have felt so many earthquakes in the last week in Reykjavik, which is just 20 miles from here. Oh, thank you, Sonic. That's very nice of you, Sonic. Thank you. Thank you, Sonic. Yes, this is a really interesting story. I just find it so interesting just that there hasn't been a volcano in that area for, almost 900 years, is it? That's pretty crazy. So it'll be really interesting if that happens. Alibaba mentioned a fissure. I haven't seen that. Oh, here's an article from this is good. This is from Volcano Discovery. This was from 3 days ago. It says continuing quakes as the tectonic plates splitting Iceland move. The recent earthquake, which occurred in this area where we're talking about, is only one of the quakes which exceeded magnitude 4.0. Blah 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 blah. This is about earthquakes. They don't really talk about the possible volcano. The Iceland Meteorological Authority says that these seismic activities are part of the ongoing volcano tectonic reactivation of the Reykjanes Peninsula. Although none had been observed yet, they are on the constant lookout for any shallow magmatic intrusions or inflow of magma from depth. All right. We'll keep an eye on this. It's very interesting. Donald Robbins says Iceland is slowly splitting in half. Let me look this up and see if I can find. Oops. Smithsonian Mag. I didn't know this. The Earth is splitting apart in the middle of Iceland. Actually, it's splitting apart along a ridge that runs north to south through the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The Earth's surface is made up of separate plates, which move very, very, very slowly, but do move in relation to each other. In addition to straddling the split between two plates, Iceland sits atop a hot spot where magma continuously rises through the Earth's crust from the mantle. The combination of these tremendous geologic forces creates weird and wonderful scenery and fuels volcanic eruptions on average 1 every 5 years. Also, Iceland, one of our viewers mentioned the hotspots. Aside from Iceland's geological attractions, the capital city of Reykjavik has plenty of human-scale hotspots. Oh no, human-scale hotspots. There are hot springs. There are hot springs to bask in all over the island. I did go to a hot spring. It was great. Interesting. I did not know this about the two plates. Our viewer Aoi says it splits 2 centimeters every year. Aoi says it's 2:10 a.m. there. I guess it'd be 2:12 a.m. Sounds right to me. There it is. Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this. Hey, old Raj is here. Ashley Stevie says 10,000 earthquakes since last Wednesday. Ashley got married in Iceland. Would I get in a hot spring today? Sure. Probably wait till after the pandemic to go. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a different topic, but I think that topic is super interesting. I think if it does have an eruption, we might do a stream on it. Again, it's not supposed to, if it erupts, it's not supposed to really threaten anything. It's not supposed to be an explosive eruption, but that's pretty cool if it erupts if that area erupts for the first time in, since the 1100s. Hang on, just catching up here. Write to me with your comments at Looknerd. Yeah, Tony sent me a link to Volcano Discovery. I already know about Volcano Discovery. I liked Volcano Discovery. Hold on a second here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's done. Bananu says, love volcanoes when I can watch them on TV. Yangshet says, not thrilled about volcanoes. Hey, by the way, yes, so some people are messaging me about the SpaceX rocket. Yeah, SpaceX, I think, did a test launch today, and it was, I believe they were they tried, everything went great, and then after the rocket landed, it blew up. But this is not an uncommon occurrence with the SpaceX tests. And just because something blows up doesn't mean it was a failed test. So I'll show you something about that. But successful landing. SpaceX Starship prototype rocket explodes after successful landing in high altitude flight tests. So they have this rocket came down and it landed. That's what that was before it blew up, but that was a successful landing. SpaceX's latest Starship prototype landed for the first time after a high-altitude flight test, but then exploded a few minutes after as it stood on the concrete pad. The cause of this explosion, or whether it was intentional, was not immediately clear. And then Chris BNSF posted this shot of the explosion. Hold on a second here. You'll eventually see it. Is it at the end here? Oh, sorry. So it's already landed, and then it explodes. But again, it was a successful landing. Jessica McBride says they are getting closer and closer, getting lots of data. Yeah, you can find footage of this. If you just like Google it or whatever, you can rewatch it and stuff. Yeah, this is a SpaceX Mars prototype rocket nails landing for the first time but explodes on pad. This is from CNN. A SpaceX rocket prototype known as SN-10 soared over South Texas during a test flight today before swooping down to a pinpoint landing near to its launch site. Approximately 3 minutes after landing, however, it exploded. Wednesday was the first successful landing for a Starship prototype. It was unclear what caused the rocket to explode. Oh, thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate that, Christina, who is watching while working. Thank you so much for your support. That's very kind of you, Christina. Thank you. Richie Cuna says, and you know that is what tests are for. Mr. Showtime says, next is Starship 11, which is already made. Oops. Tomer says it was a pretty great milestone to land it. Ashley Stevie says, sounds like the methane caught fire. I saw one article that suggested maybe it had something to do with a methane leak, but I have no idea. Banana says, it is impressive a thing that size can land. 10-4 says it did land. Shart in the Dark says, successful is relative. They will learn more from this. In that sense, not a failure. This is one of those cases when you can use the phrase, it was a smashing success. Yang Chat says, standard for rocket engineering. Shart in the Dark says there was apparently a methane leak. Oh, our viewer Colbrun has switched to Facebook from YouTube. Now in the Facebook chat. Our viewer Leanne Ticknor said she went to Iceland in May, so she had the 24-hour daylight experience. Fantastic country. Deb Haston says, I watched a drone video the other night and the landscape in Iceland is unreal looking. All right, so we will keep an eye out on the whole volcano situation in Iceland. What I want to talk about next is, and as I already talked earlier in the broadcast, that we're going to be keeping an eye out. I got to keep checking out what's going on in Myanmar, because as I mentioned, Myanmar is on, they're in the morning now, and their current time is 8:52 a.m. And if they have, the protests there have usually been during the day. So if there's going to be big news involving the protests, that would probably, it would be in the coming hours, but not yet because it's only 8:52 a.m. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as well. All right, I want to talk about a different story though. Also, remember, give me a shout. At Lookner on Twitter if you have comments on stories, if you have other suggested stories. At Lookner on Twitter is where you can reach me. I'll also be checking to see if any other news pops up tonight as well, which I have to remind myself to do. I want to talk about this story. I don't know if you guys saw this. Hang on, I have to actually get it on the screen. I have too many things open on my screen now. This is the problem. A Maryland police chief retired after decades on the force, only to spend much of the next 10 years unleashing a series of arson attacks on his perceived enemies, according to a bevy of charges revealed on Wednesday. Now, this is the Daily Beast. I think the original story might have been in the Baltimore Sun, so I'm going to check that because I haven't looked at the Baltimore Sun story. Is that where it was? Maybe it wasn't there. Here it is. Former Maryland police chief charged with 12 arsons targeting officials he disagreed with, police say. Former Laurel, Maryland police chief David Crawford was arrested today and is facing attempted murder charges in connection with multiple arsons. Crawford is being charged with 12 arsons that took place from 2011 to 2020, involving multiple homes, vehicles, and residential garages in Howard, Prince George's, Frederick, and Montgomery counties. He was a police chief. Intentional fires were connected to individuals with whom Crawford had disagreements. The victims include a former Laurel official, 3 former law enforcement officials, including another former Laurel police chief, 2 relatives, 2 of Crawford's former doctors, and a resident in his neighborhood. Wow. Again, the victims include a former Laurel city official, 3 former law enforcement officials, including a other former Laurel police chief, 2 relatives, 2 of his former doctors, and a resident in his neighborhood. No one was injured in any of the 12 fires. In 6 of the arsons, police said the victims and their families were inside the homes. Because there were clear signs individuals were home at the time of the fires, police in Howard and Prince George's charged Crawford with attempted murder. He is charged with 20 felonies in this county alone. 7 felonies in Montgomery County. 24 felonies in Howard County. Police said they first searched Crawford's home in January and found a target list of known victims along with other evidence. What a bonkers story. So crazy. Pete M says it's crazy. It is crazy. Louise says, I can't even imagine having issues with that many people. Hang on a second. I want to take some more comments from you guys. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. See if there's anything different in this article. Here's the guy. This is the Daily Beast article. Yeah, Melissa McQueen says, late in life firebug, how bizarre. Yeah, I mean, he was a Maryland police chief, and then he retired, and then he did this. It's not like, I assume he didn't have a life of doing this. Pete M says he hates everyone. Kathy Wickman says he went off his rocker. Jessica McBride says, wonder what a person had on Earth a person had to do to get on his bad side. Must not have taken that much to target that many people. I'd love to get the actual statement. Prince George's County Fire Department. Are they like on maybe they posted on Facebook or something. Let's see. This is their... No. Oh, anything here? Oh, this is, but is this Maryland? This is it right here. This is the right Facebook page, but I don't see the statement here. Anyways. He allegedly went after public officials, fellow members of the law enforcement, 2 doctors who formerly treated him, a neighbor, and his own relatives. All the fires were at night. In 6 of the arsons, the victim and the families were inside their homes asleep, said the fire department statement. Investigators said Crawford hid his identity from surveillance cameras with hooded sweatshirts. And also, this just didn't happen like in a month. This happened over 10 years. Over 10 years. From 2011 to 2020. He was doing this over 10 years. Kathy Wickman says, I'm sure he was able to cover things up as a police chief. Kathy is saying because he was a police chief, he might have known how to do it without getting detected. Ann M says, think of all the people he put in jail while a cop. Well, I hope he didn't do anything bad when he was a police chief. Linda Belk says, sounds like he went nuts in his old age. The thing is, though, like, I mean, so when it started in 2011, I guess he was, what? He would have been 59. He was 59 when it started. Around 59. Hey, thanks, Linda, for modding, too. I mean, I'd really be interested in knowing what the actual, what his grudges were. I mean, was he just like making up grudges? Because like as a couple of you had said, he had seemed to have these grudges against so many people, including relatives and former doctors. So was he just like making up grudges against whoever, and then setting fires. Roy Aberdeen says, imagine the patience, the dedication. Maybe he loved doing it. This is in Maryland. Also, yeah, as the articles point out, like he wasn't just setting fires. He set a number of fires with people inside the houses, which is why he's getting charged with attempted murder. It was in a bunch of different locations. He's charged in 4 different counties. Matt Danger says, I suspect mental illness. Madison G says, I'm glad no one got hurt. What a crazy story this is. That's really a nuts story. Johnny Anonymous says it was his hobby. Lou Sassel, thank you for watching. Oh, I think Lou might have been trying to get me to say something naughty. It's weird though, because I normally don't thank people. So Lou might have not been trying to say that, actually, because normally I don't even shout out people. Of all the people I shouted out. Well, regardless, Lou made a nice comment anyway. From now on, I'm going to just say Lou. Sometimes people are genuine viewers with naughty names. Lou just made a genuinely nice comment. That's why I shouted him out. Okay, let's move on from that story. New story. News story. All the best that I said his name the other day. Yeah, a number of people have messaged me. Oh, hey, Angel Shark. Thank you, Angel Shark. That's very kind of you, Angel Shark. Hey, I appreciate your support. Thank you. Hey, I want to say thanks to... Oh, we'll talk about the Sweden thing, too. We got to talk about that. I want to say thanks to our moderators. Mark Helton, Sarah Joy, Angel Shark. Thank you. Lizzie. Linda Belk. Duxor, Nightbot, Tariag, thank you. Bud Green. Thanks, mods. Thank you, mods. Yeah, so I retweeted something today, and a bunch of people have messaged me about the story, but I don't think there's really any serious threat from it. It's this one right here. Is it even posted here? Let's see. Yeah, so I don't really think there's any kind of serious threat here. House scraps plans for Thursday session after security officials warn of possible plot to breach Capitol. That's from Washington Post. That's from Felisa Sonmez tweeted it. Now remember, look. The reason that the people were able to the Capitol breach on January 6th, which was terrible. A big reason that it happened is that there was so little security there that day, given the threat. So I don't think that's going to happen again. Like, I'm guessing that they have a lot more, I'm guessing they are constantly aware now of the threat of people who might want to go to the Capitol, and I'm guessing they have a lot more resources in place to deal with it. Also, I think there's like still a fence up around the Capitol, right? So it's, you would have to have, I can't imagine this, you'd have to have like an armed force to breach the Capitol probably now, given what's happened and given the preparations for it now. But I guess there was some new intelligence suggesting some group might be planning something. I was looking at this before. House scraps plans for Thursday session after security officials warn of possible plot to breach Capitol. Tomorrow is March 4th. Among some, I guess, QAnon circles, it's seen as like the day when President Trump will be president again, which of course won't happen. Here's the House scrapped plans for Thursday session after security officials warned of a possible plot by an unnamed militant group to breach the Capitol, which I can't imagine would actually happen, right? The decision to move up votes on legislation to Wednesday night came after officials warned of credible threats of violence circulated by right-wing extremists that March 4th is the true inauguration day when former President Trump will be sworn in for a second term. So, I don't know what intelligence they have. I'm guessing they're doing it out of genuine precaution, but they might just figure it's best not to have anything that day. So, C. Michelle Sparks says, I think making the announcement at all was a bad idea. I think C. Michelle Sparks is saying that she thinks maybe the announcement publicizes it more and might encourage more people to go there. Melissa McQueen says that was a preemptive press maneuver. In my opinion, nothing's going to happen of any significance. Denise Horton says they'd have to dig a tunnel. Also, they might just not want, like, if they can avoid having the members of Congress there, maybe just they feel like to be safe, we don't want the members of Congress traveling around the city or whatever. So maybe it's just like just a safety thing. John H. Roberts Jr. says everything will be an overreaction after January 6th. Linda Belk says much ado about nothing. But they might have some specific information about something, but they're not releasing it. So, right, Tracy Johnson says, "How would anyone get into the Capitol? It has streets that are shut down and fenced with barbed wire all around." What I was wondering is, again, if there was a session of Congress on Thursday, if there's a House session on Thursday, maybe they're concerned about stuff happening outside the Capitol. It might just be a way to get people to try to get people to not come there at all. Boo Boo Nene says they have to secure entire DC tomorrow because on Thursday everything is considered a threat, even stores as well. Yeah, I haven't seen any reporting that suggests there's a serious threat of violence. It's something that I guess some extremists are talking about online, but let me just see if there's any more updates about that. I'll check one of the local stations. Okay, this is from, I want to get one of the local stations. Will they be talking about like NBC News Washington? See, I'm at NBC4 Washington, D.C., and it's not one of they have this thing here, police uncover possible plot to breach Capitol. But it's not like they're on their front page, they're saying, watch out, D.C., over what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't see it anywhere here. Okay, fine. Capitol Police received, quote, new and concerning information and intelligence on Tuesday afternoon indicating additional interest in the Capitol for the dates of March 4th to 6th by a militia group, said the acting House Sergeant at Arms. There has been a noticeable decline in online activity on some social media platforms surrounding efforts on March 4th, and there was already considerably less online chatter than during the lead up to January 6th. So I haven't heard of any I haven't heard reporting of like some credible threat of violence in the general city of D.C. Tim Riggy says sometimes people make things up so they don't have to go to work. I don't think that happened. All right, so we discussed that. Ellie Bourne says the nut jobs can constantly change the dates. They are very delusional. Christina Scholl thinks the security is paranoid and a waste of money. All right, let's talk about, let's move on to next topic. Next topic. Hang on 1 second here. Let me just do this real quick. All right, let's look at the, I want to talk about Sweden. There was like a stabbing attack in Sweden, and last time I checked a few hours ago on this, it was being investigated as a possible terror attack, but they weren't sure. So let me see what I can find more about that. April Coco says they keep changing the date like the apocalypse end time people. Here, we'll go to a Swedish publication. This is Aftonbladet. Aftonbladet. Hey, by the way, before we do that, just a reminder, if you like this channel, I have two other channels. Well, I either have one or two other channels. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching it on Agenda Free TV too. But my main news channel is Agenda Free TV. So if you like this kind of coverage, you subscribe to Agenda Free TV. If you're watching on one of the other platforms besides YouTube, it's all one news channel, so don't worry about it. And then no matter what platform you're watching on, I also have a channel called Lookner where I do non-news videos. I do mainly live streams, and it's a little more chill than the news stuff. So that is called Lookner. That's on YouTube. So check that out as well. Okay, let's talk about now Sweden. Let's talk about Sweden, shall we? Here we go. Let's get the latest. I haven't even checked Aftonbladet in a while, so I want to see what they're saying. Ooh, the police go to the man's apartment. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this works. 7 injured after suspected terrorist attack. This is in Sweden. Vetlanda. 3 people have... Oh, I didn't know 3 people had life-threatening injuries. 3 people have life-threatening injuries after the attacks in Vetlanda, where police are investigating possible terrorist motives. This is in Vetlanda, Sweden. Has about 13,000 people there. Vetlanda. There it is. Okay, they say a total of 7 people were injured after being attacked by the knife-wielding man. According to information given to Aftonbladet, the suspect is a 22-year-old who was living in Vetlanda. Last night, the police raided his apartment. The man who is suspected of injuring 7 people during a series of attacks in central Vetlanda was shot by police and is being treated in the hospital. During the night, police searched his apartment in Vetlanda. So he was from that city. According to the Aftonbladet, the man is a 22-year-old man who lives in the apartment himself and moved there from another place in the city or in the municipality. So he was living somewhere else in Sweden less than a year ago. He came to Sweden a few years ago. Okay? He came to Sweden a few years ago. It was just before 3 p.m. Wednesday afternoon that the knife-wielding man attacked several people in central Vetlanda. A total of 7 people were injured. Some are seriously injured and some are slightly injured, but no one is dead. But 3 people have, according to this article, life-threatening injuries. 3 people have life-threatening injuries, 2 are seriously injured, and 2 are moderately injured, and 1 slightly injured. All are hospitalized in care. That adds up to 8. The police shot the perpetrator. The motive is still unclear. The man has not been questioned yet. The man is known by police earlier. This applies to minor criminal suspicions. This is interesting. So the police was aware of the person. I guess, I don't know if they'd been charged with stuff before, but it says the man is known by police, was earlier known by police. This applies to minor criminal suspicions. There has been a train stop, at least in part of Sweden, due to this. It may be because the crime scene is near the train station. It is sometimes because the police don't want, for example, any witnesses or perpetrators to disappear by train. I haven't seen any reporting on what the terrorist motive, if it is terrorism, might be. That's bad, though. 3 people have life-threatening injuries. Kathy Wickman says that's a lot of people considering 1 man and 1 knife. Melissa McQueen says, ugh, knife attacks are so personal and up close. I actually want to post this. I'm going to post this. Oops. 3 people have life-threatening injuries after the stabbing attack earlier today in Sweden, which is being investigated as terrorism. I had not heard that 3 people had life-threatening injuries. I hope they're okay. Matt Danger says, must have been one heck of a knife to do all that damage. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly bad, but it's like, yeah, I was hoping. Sometimes you hear about these things and the injuries aren't as bad as this. But nobody died. Sometimes people get killed. What makes it terrorism, Kathy says? Well, if it's somebody doing it for some kind of like political cause. But it could be all, there's various motives somebody could have that would be classified as terrorism. So I don't know. I'm going to see if there's any other articles about this from the Swedish press. Linda says, wonder where he came to Sweden from. It's a good question. I don't know. They didn't say. Yeah, Charles Jordan says, not live on YouTube. Because on YouTube, this is on Agenda Free TV 2. There's 2 YouTube channels. This is the other one. This is our news channel on YouTube. The second Linda says, wonder where the Agenda Free TV 2. There's 2 news channels on YouTube. I'm going to reply to Charles in the Facebook chat. Bud and Nicolette mentioned it's on Agenda Free TV 2. Exactly. See if I can find any other local reporting on it. A couple of the papers there are paywalled, so I can't check those. Ooh. Okay, here's an update. We have an update, guys, from the Swedish paper Expressen. It's Expressen. The arrested man, 22-year-old, convicted of cannabis, marijuana. The suspected perpetrator could only be stopped after he was shot by police. Afghan. The detainee is a 22-year-old Afghan citizen who has previously been convicted of drug offenses. Now, he's been in Sweden for several years. Okay. This is according to Expressen. According to Expressen, the suspect is a 22-year-old who's a citizen of Afghanistan. He has lived in the apartment for just over a year. Before that, he lived in another place in the municipality. He came to Sweden in 2018. The man has had substance abuse problems, and he has previously been convicted of minor drug offenses after using marijuana. "18 minutes after the first alarm call, he was stopped by police. I wonder if he was on drugs when he did it. That's a reporter, by the way. That's not the guy. That's not the suspect. Yeah, I think that when it says cannabis here, my guess is that this is marijuana. I don't know the technical difference. Cannabis, also known as marijuana. It is the same thing. Cannabis, also known as marijuana, among other names, is a psychoactive drug. I guess there's the marijuana plant and the cannabis plant too. But I think if this was written in English, it wouldn't be written cannabis headline. It would say pot or marijuana. So. Johan says he is from Afghanistan. I think Johan said that before I read the article. Joanne Schlichter says, how do they know he's a terrorist, not some nut job? I'm guessing there's some information, either maybe witnesses heard him saying something, or maybe he might have told the police something. So I'm guessing they have some other information out here if they're investigating it as terrorism. Brooklyn Born says, "Are you doing Lookner tonight? Can we just do this stream first? I'm doing this stream. I'm doing this stream." Let's focus on one stream at a time. But I haven't heard any specifics on why they think it was terrorism, or why they're investigating it as such. Passett says, it's not exactly easy to get arrested for marijuana in Sweden. Cinnamon Frosted Pecan says, "I blame the cannabis." Okay. I want to check out what's going on with Myanmar as well, if there's any updates from there. Erica Bowman says Sweden is not a 420 friendly country. Let's see this. I don't know. Sweden marijuana laws. How are they on marijuana in Sweden? Trip Savvy. Hey, look, marijuana laws in Sweden are some of the harshest in Europe, and the country outright bans any and all possession, sale, and transport and cultivation of marijuana, with few exceptions. Look at that. Weed is very uncommon in Sweden. I didn't know that. And you'll have a hard time finding it as a consumer unless you know someone who grows it. Due to the risks associated with possession and distribution of pot in Sweden, even known sellers will not be open about their business, and prices will be much higher than in legal shops in the United States. Swedish law enforcement officers and lawmakers do not distinguish between weed and harder drugs. How about that? Nicole Wilson says, "I would never have guessed." Yeah, thanks to our viewer who mentioned that. Kathy says, "That's interesting." History Underfoot says, "I have no idea, would have expected the opposite." I wonder why that is there. Doug Rabbit says, "I learned something new today." Fish says, I couldn't live in Sweden. Go to Wikipedia. Cannabis in Sweden is illegal for all purposes. It is illegal for any kind of recreational purpose and for most medical purposes. In Sweden, marijuana has no officially recognized medical usage. Beth says, "Good job, Sweden." Joint Specialist says, "That reminds me of the U.S. in the 90s. Dave NW says, I guess they're not as liberal as they're often thought to be. Well, I'm guessing on other things they're more liberal. I'm guessing. Just a guess. I don't really know. All right, we'll go on to a different topic. By the way, if you like the news coverage here, follow me on Twitter @Lookner, because I do post breaking news pretty much nonstop when I'm awake from my Twitter account @Lookner. And also, if you like this kind of coverage and you want to help support it, because you guys are the ones who let me do this, who let me do my channels with your support, you can make a donation if you like, and you can do that by going to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. Thank you. All right, I want to do a quick check on Myanmar. I don't know if we're going to end up doing a stream today on Myanmar, because I don't know what's going to happen there today. Ooh, look. Military airplanes have been seen flying over Mandalay this morning. This is Myanmar now. Despite yesterday's deadly crackdowns, people have started coming out into the streets of Mandalay again this morning. At least 3 people were shot dead by security forces in the city of Mandalay yesterday. Military airplanes have been seen flying over Mandalay this morning. So remember, Myanmar had a military coup. The military took over the country on February 1st. They took over from the democratically elected civilian government. And there's been a bunch of protests since then. But on Sunday and today, there was significant violence where the armed forces and police fired live rounds at protesters. On Sunday, I believe 18 people died. Yesterday, at least 38 people were killed. And there's lots of video. We did a whole stream on this on Agenda Free TV. We did a stream on this morning, early this morning. But there's a lot, and I was saying on the stream, I can't show you the videos. They're just so graphic. There's lots of video out there of just like dead bodies, people shot in the head, bodies being dragged through the street, either by people trying to save them or police killing somebody and then dragging the body away. There's some really crazy, awful video out there. And so I want to talk about this for a second, just give you an update. But the time there right now, I think is about 9:30 a.m. So I think people will start kind of going out to the protests. This is around the time they start doing that. What is it, 9:34 a.m. there right now. The person running the country who they arrested, Aung San Suu Kyi, is still in custody, Doug Rabbit. Yeah, so look, let's look at this. Nicola Smith says, overnight news from yesterday's brutal crackdown on Myanmar protesters is much worse than initially thought. UN Special Envoy on Myanmar says 38 killed. There's some real, and this was in multiple cities in Myanmar. Across Myanmar, you had police and military forces firing on protesters. And the protesters are not, I have not seen a shot of a protester with a gun. The protesters appear unarmed to me. UN Special Envoy on Myanmar, Christine Schroner-Bergner, said 38 people had been killed on Wednesday. Myanmar security forces opened fire on protesters against military rule on Wednesday. I have not noticed anything lagging. First says, you're lagging, please fix. I'm watching the stream myself, and I haven't seen any issues. Underdog Rising says, the military has killed kids. They are illegitimate and must be stopped. Bim says, the bullet wounds to the heads are a bloody wake-up call. There's a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Denise Horton said, saw a photo when scrolling on Twitter. Horrific. I posted some of the stuff that I saw last night. I couldn't show it on the air, but if you go to my Twitter feed and you look like yesterday, you'll see some of the stuff. Alibaba says, I did see protesters throwing gas in a glass bottle slit. So, yeah, I can't really speak for all the protesters there, but from the reporting I've seen and the video I've seen, it looks to me like at least the vast majority of the protesters are not violent. And I haven't seen, so it just, the videos I've seen of the protesters being fired on are pretty bad. They're horrible. Yeah, JS, the military took over. The military forcefully took power from the civilian government. They had an election in November, and the military affiliated candidates did very badly. And so I guess the military, well, there's different theories on why this happened now, but one part of this that's commonly cited is that the military did poorly in the election, and they felt like their power was weakening in the country. The military ran Myanmar from 1962 to 2011. Then in 2011, they agreed to let a civilian government run the country, but they still had a ton of power. The constitution was set up that the military still had a ton of power, but maybe they were worried that they were losing they were losing power too much. But they didn't do well. Their affiliated candidates didn't do well in the election. And the day the new parliament was supposed to be seated in February 1st, they took over power. There was a coup. And since then, there have been these protests going on, but they've really gotten violent this week. Sunday, 18 people were killed, I believe, and today, 38 people were killed. Underdog Rising says, I saw those brutal pictures last night. This is horrible. Fish says, if your friend or family member had been massacred, I'd throw a flaming bottle too. And then there's this one girl, we were talking about this on our stream this morning on Agenda Free TV. There's that girl who was killed, a 19-year-old girl who was out there protesting, and then she was just killed. And there's photos of her dead body, which I can't show you. This is her. That's her right there. That's her right there. Everything will be okay. Slain Myanmar's teens T-shirt slogan spurs defiance. Everything will be okay. Read 19-year-old Angel's T-shirt as the dancer and Taekwondo champion joined anti-coup protesters on Myanmar on Wednesday. That's her. She was 19. Everything will be okay. But she had known it might not be okay, leaving details of her blood group, a contact number, and a request to donate her body in the event of her death. Angel, also known as Kyaw Sin, was killed by a shot to the head on the streets of Mandalay as she fought for a tentative democracy, in which she had proudly voted for the first time last year, an election overturned by the February 1st coup. Her shirt went viral on social media. Myat Thu, who was with her at the protests, recalled a brave young woman who kicked open a water pipe so protesters could wash tear gas from their eyes and who lobbed a tear gas canister back towards police. First, police hit them with tear gas, Myat Thu said. Then the bullets came. Pictures taken before she was killed show Angel lying down for cover beside a protest banner with her head slightly raised. And then there's other pictures of her. I can't show you her dead body, although I've seen pictures of the dead body. It's terrible. But there's other pictures of her. Hold on a second. Let me show you this. Oh, see, look, this is like an example of art about her. I haven't even seen this. This person, Tom's Lu, says, R.I.P. Ma Kyaw Sin, one of many shot by Myanmar militaries today. So see the shirt, everything will be okay? Rest in peace, Ma Kyaw Sin. Oh, and then here's pictures. So this person, Coco, posted this. This is one of the pictures I saw yesterday right here. That's a picture we were showing you last night. That's her. See, that's the shirt. So there's other photos out there of just her body dead. I've seen a photo of what looks like her head with the back. It looks to me like the back of her head is shot out. But yeah, I wouldn't do it. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't show pictures of the. I can't show the graphic stuff. But there's plenty of graphic stuff from these protests. It's terrible, awful. Richie Cunis said he read about other people being shot in the head too. Yeah, I have seen numerous photos of videos of people shot in the head. Which makes you wonder, are they aiming for people's heads? Nicole Wilson says, it's so horrible. I have seen people request U.S. help, and some say it's a bad idea. I have a feeling getting involved might create more tension in Asia, and I assume that's why we aren't jumping in. Jessica McBride says, I am not looking at those pics. Melissa McQueen says, I just can't get over that the military is comprised of the people of Myanmar. How does that even work? Caesar Day says, so the bigger question is, what is World, etc. doing about it? I think there was supposed to be a Security Council meeting on it in the UN. Let's see. It might mention it in this article here. This is from the New York Times. Hey, by the way, a quick thank you to Kayvon Osborne. I appreciate your support, Kayvon. Thank you, Kayvon Osborne. And thank you also to Kathy Wickman. Much appreciated. Thanks for your support, Kathy Wickman. Thank you, Kathy. So this is the New York Times article. I'll see if this mentions the Security Council meeting. Wednesday's developments came as the United States, which is president of the UN Security Council for March, scheduled a meeting on Friday to deal with the crisis in Myanmar. So the UN Security Council will be discussing this on Friday. Myanmar has been thrown into turmoil since a military junta seized control on February 1st and arrested the civilian leaders whose party had won an overwhelming victory in the elections. Security forces have used increasingly brutal means to crush the anti-coup protests. The UN representative for Myanmar, Christine Schreiner Bergener, I guess she's the person who's supposed to kind of be the go-between between UN and Myanmar. She said she was not allowed to go there. Didn't she say? Miss Bergener, who's a Swiss diplomat appointed by the Secretary General of the UN to monitor Myanmar, told reporters at a news conference that junta leaders, junta is like the military ruling group, had rejected her request to visit the country. A junta is a military or political group that rules the country after taking power by force. When she warned the military leaders of the country of the consequences of becoming an international pariah, an international outcast, she said that the military leaders responded, "We are used to sanctions and we must learn to walk with only a few friends." So basically the military told her, we're not scared of sanctions. Miss Bergener, who's the UN representative again, said she had received many messages from Myanmar citizens inside Myanmar pleading for international action that would end the repression and lead to the release of the arrested civilian leadership headed by Aung San Suu Kyi, the Nobel laureate. And she said 38 people died today. She did not specify the sources of her information or elaborate on where in Myanmar the deaths had occurred, but there's plenty of video and reporting out there of people getting killed. Other news accounts and social media postings from Myanmar reported similar figures from clashes in several cities. The number of deaths, if confirmed, would be roughly double the previous one-day record of 18 killed on Sunday. It's really bad. But I'm keeping an eye out because it's about 9:45 a.m. there now. So I'm keeping an eye out what happens today, which i.e. Thursday in Myanmar. I'm going to keep checking that. Uh-oh, looks like it's happening again. So we now have a report. This is unconfirmed. This is unconfirmed. This is a report from Karen Kin, who I've found very reliable, who's reporting from Myanmar, who's reports on stuff from Myanmar, who she gathers up information that's being and posts it. She says she's hearing that by terrorists she means the military, that there's gunfire on peaceful protesters in Pien Mana Ne Pp Tau, source 11. So it might be starting again today. She just posted that. Oh, and here's another picture of the girl who was killed. That's from Reuters. Then here's a report from last night. Cape Diamond posted this. Photos showed that the Myanmar security forces raided and destroyed the properties of the Free Funeral Service Society office at night in the city of Yangon. Now, is Free Funeral Service Society, what do they do? The Free Funeral Service Society is a civil society organization based in Myanmar. They provide free funeral services for the poor in Yangon. So I don't, maybe there's people who are participating in the protests who also have dealings with them. I'm not sure what the exact connection is, why they, I was hearing reporting last night that that on Wednesday night they had been raided, but I'm not sure exactly why. But these are some photos. It's Thursday there right now that Cape Diamond posted. Sorry. All right, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. Kathy says, what countries are they asking for help from? I don't know. I mean, I believe they just want, I don't know if there's like specifics they're focusing on, but they're definitely asking for countries around the world to help them, the protesters. No, letter artist Karen Kin didn't post a video to my Twitter page. I retweeted Karen Kin, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. No, but I've been retweeting some of that stuff. Fish says, I mean, how do you even solve this situation? It's a logistical and political nightmare, sickening times we live in. One of our viewers said something interesting last night. One of our viewers said, well, now that the military has killed all these protesters, are they just never going to want to step down because they know that they'll be like prosecuted? Like at this point, has it gone so far with killing the protesters that the military just feels like, well, we can't step down now because we'll be like thrown in jail or executed or something? It's a good question. Linda Belk says, that girl was so young and enthusiastic. Dave NW says, looks very much like an execution rather than a defensive wound. Yeah, a number of the people who I've seen, the videos and the photos I've seen of people killed, are like just solid head wounds, which makes you wonder, are they literally just, targeting their heads? Doug Rabbit says, my guess is we can't do anything because of worries about China getting involved. I mean, so, we'll have to see what happens. There's a UN Security Council meeting on Friday. So we'll have to see, if this keeps going on, do countries are there more economic sanctions? We'll have to see what happens. I believe, did the U.S. impose any economic sanctions yet? Maybe. Yeah, February 16th, this was a couple weeks ago, new U.S. sanctions and export controls target military behind coup in Myanmar. But that was a couple weeks ago. That was posted by Gibson Dunn. But I'm sure there's news articles on that. That's Gibson Dunn. But hang on, we were talking about this last night. Ooh, here's something. U.S. News. West looks to tougher sanctions as Myanmar violence intensifies. This is from a couple days ago. Reuters. There are renewed calls for tougher international sanctions on the ruling junta. Western outrage over the coup and the killing of protesters has reignited a debate on the effectiveness of sanctions, less than a decade after liberalization prompted most countries to start removing them. Because starting in 2011, the Myanmar seemed to be moving more towards democracy. That's when the military, which had been ruling for 50 years, stopped officially being in charge. But now they've taken power again. Western countries, including the U.S., Britain, Canada, and the European Union, have implemented or are considering targeted sanctions to squeeze the military and its business allies. The targeted sanctions are largely symbolic, as the military and its firms have limited exposure to the West. Okay? The sanctions so far announced have less impact than those opposed in the 1990s. But critics say that those sanctions failed to sway the junta and also deprived people of aid and jobs and set Myanmar back decades in its development. What other measures are available? The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Myanmar, Tom Andrews, said countries with sanctions should impose more measures and coordinate approaches internationally. He also proposed convening the Security Council, which is going to happen on Friday, which would give it authority, the Security Council, to consider invoking Chapter 7 authority within the UN Charter, which would give it authority to enforce decisions with economic sanctions or force. Referral to the International Criminal Court was another option, he said, as was a global arms embargo to prevent the military accessing weapons to use against its own people, although I'm sure it has a lot of weapons already. Among the other ideas floated has been to pay energy revenues to an offshore escrow account to which the military government would have limited access. Will Russia and China come on board? Any coordinated international action would need some support from Security Council permanent members Russia and China. Both sell arms to Myanmar and have benefited from Western arms embargoes. China is not fond of multilateral action against individual countries, and experts say it is unlikely to back sanctions. Like its neighbors in Southeast Asia, China has not been critical of the junta in the response to the crisis. Does the Myanmar public support sanctions? For many in Myanmar, sanctions evoke memories of a dark era of inept military rule, weak infrastructure, constant blackouts, and shortages of goods and jobs before the liberalization that brought major gains with support from many other Western countries. However, some among the anti-coup protesters see sanctions or even military intervention as measures to stop the army killing more people and entrenching its hold for decades to come. It's actually a good article there by Reuters. Auric 3D says they're doomed. Matt Danger says, with great power comes great responsibility. We must lead. It's the moral thing to do. Underdog Rising says, you can't win either way. Kayvon says, sanctions do not hurt the people. April Coco says, I wish there was some way to help. Dave says, I wonder if sanctions would even be effective against a government like Myanmar. Melissa McQueen says, they share a border with China, right? I believe they do, but you know what? We should check. I was wondering about that myself. Myanmar. Let's see. Yes, they share a border with China, with Bangladesh. I think is this India here? Is this India? Yes, that's India. So with India, with Thailand, with Laos, there's Myanmar. Actually, no, I think I got them all. Also known as Burma. Manic Miner, the UN is meeting on Friday to discuss this. Yeah, as Doug Rabbit says, there's 50 million people who live there. 50 million. About 1/7 of the U.S. population. It's really bad. Ellie Boyne says Asia is a very large continent. Shaggy says you wouldn't think the guys with the tanks would just relinquish power. And here's more video of jets flying over Myanmar this morning. This has been happening this week. I'm guessing to intimidate the protesters. This is from Cape Diamond. Video of fighter jets flying over Mandalay this morning, which would be like now, because it's Thursday morning there. I'm guessing that's just like a threat by the military. You know, it's an implied threat, flying the jets over. Erica Bowman says U.S. government doesn't recognize the name Myanmar, only as Burma. That might be right. I'm not sure. The military, I believe, changed the name to Myanmar at some point. Myanmar, Burma, and why the different names matter. This is from February 2nd, AP. Why there are two names? For generations, the country was called Burma, after the dominant Burman ethnic group, says AP. But in 1989, 1 year after the ruling junta brutally suppressed a pro-democracy uprising, military leaders suddenly changed its name to Myanmar. By then, Burma was an international pariah desperate for any way to improve its image. Hoping for a sliver of international legitimacy, it said it was discarding a name handed down from its colonial past and to foster ethnic unity. The old name, officials said, excluded the office of the country's many ethnic minorities. At home, though, it changed nothing. In Burmese language, Myanmar is simply the more formal version of Burma. The country's name was changed only in English. Over the years, many countries and news outlets, including the Associated Press, had begun using the country's official name. As repression eased and international opposition to the military became less vocal, Myanmar became increasingly common. Unlike most of the world, the U.S. government still officially uses Burma. That's what our viewer said. But even Washington has mellowed its stance. In 2012, Barack Obama, visiting there, used both Burma and Myanmar. That's from AP. Tony Del Monte says they wouldn't shoot protesters from the sky, would they? I can't imagine unless there was some civil war situation going on. Jessica McBride says, as much as I hate what's happening there, we can't police the whole world. Gotta be another way. Okay, here's what I need to do. I'm going to take 1 second here. Hang on 1 sec. Hey guys, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to take a 1 minute break. I'll be right back and we'll continue the news roundup in 1 minute. I just saw something, by the way. I had missed this before, and I just retweeted it. So I'm going to see if I can find out anything more about this. Elint News posted about 25 minutes ago, all flights en route to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, halted amid reports of an explosion near the city. Now, sometimes what happens is they'll shoot missiles from Yemen at Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia will intercept them. So I wonder if maybe something like that happened. Was there like a UAV or a missile shot sent from Yemen? And that can sometimes happen. So I haven't heard anything more about this. I'm going to see if I can find anything about it. I haven't seen anything about it though. Aside from that. That's it. So I'll keep an eye out, but I haven't seen anything else about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was some kind of interception, because that's been happening a lot. That's been going on for years. One of our viewers said about Myanmar, what do you think? You think we should send our troops in there? Well, I don't think U.S. is sending. I don't think, even if troops go in, which I think is probably unlikely at this point. I think maybe you'd have like UN troops. It's just it usually isn't. It's done that kind of thing, like international peacekeeping force. That's not very common. So, in terms of like U.S. force or any other country, there's pluses and minuses. I'm pretty sure in this country, though, there would not be political support to send troops from only this country to Myanmar. Whatever you think of it, I'm guessing overall there wouldn't be the political support in the country for it. So there's that. But with could you see? I believe the way the international community works nowadays, I would be surprised to see troops go in there. But if this violence keeps going on or gets worse for more time, maybe it'll become more likely. Manic Miner says has to be more than just U.S. And then maybe if there was going to be some sort of peacekeeping force, I think that's less likely than not. It's more likely to not happen now. But if that ever did happen, maybe the organizers would try to compose it of some of the neighboring countries' forces. I don't know. I have no idea. But Phyllis says she says you can't even ask people there about it. They won't talk. It'll put them in danger. Now, some people are certainly posting about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you run a risk by posting on social media about the situation in Myanmar. Oh, Van Spear reminded me. I should mention this quickly. I actually retweeted this. I just forgot that I retweeted it early, so I'd post about this earlier. But just an update to the whole accident, that terrible car accident in Texas, where an SUV had like roughly 25 people in it, and it got T-boned by a truck, and then 13 of the people died. That happened yesterday, was it? So there's this update on that. CBS Evening News, the 13 people killed in a car crash near the U.S.-Mexico border on Tuesday, were among 40 plus who entered the country through a hole cut into the border fence, Border Patrol says. The SUV was one of two that drove through the opening. How about that? All 19 people in the other SUV were apprehended. So that the SUV that had the back seats taken out and had 25 people in it, around 25 people in it, had come from Mexico and had driven through a hole in the border fence, in case you hadn't heard that. That was in Imperial Valley, California. This is 7 San Diego. See, look. A hole in the border fence near Calexico where U.S. Border Patrol said 2 cars entered. Seven San Diego. SUV in crash where 13 died came through hole in border fence. Surveillance video showed a Ford Expedition and Chevy Suburban drive through the opening early Tuesday, said the Border Patrol. The video has not been released publicly because it's part of an ongoing investigation. The Suburban carried 19 people and it caught fire for unknown reasons on a nearby interstate. How about that? I wonder if something was up with the trucks. The other truck that had 19 people in it, the Suburban, caught fire for unknown reasons on a nearby interstate. All escaped the fire and were taken into custody by Border Patrol agents. The expedition, crammed with 25 people, continued on, and a tractor-trailer struck it after a short time later. The opening in the fence was about 30 miles east of the crash, at the heart of California's Imperial Valley, a major farming region now at the height of a harvest. The opening was made of steel bollards that were built before President Trump blanketed much of the border with taller barriers that go deeper into the ground. The breach occurred in a busy area for illegal crossings near the Imperial Sand Dunes, where migrants also often climb over an aging barrier and wait for drivers to pick them up, hoping to avoid the scrutiny of Border Patrol agents at checkpoints on highways leading to LA, San Diego, and Phoenix. The expedition was built to hold 8 people safely, but smugglers are known to pack people into vehicles in extremely unsafe conditions to maximize their profits. Okay. So just terrible. And certainly condolences to the families of those who died and thoughts with all of those who were injured. A number of people seriously injured in that accident as well. Montpelier says, I hope whoever was using these workers pays a price for this also. If they were workers, I mean, another possibility is they were just people being snuck into the country or just people being snuck in to do something else. Yeah, E. Bridget says, wonders if the car that caught fire was due to being overweight capacity. Yeah, some viewers were wondering if maybe the crash of the SUV, where people where it actually got hit with, might have been caused because they were so over the weight capacity of the vehicle. We checked the weight capacity before of the expedition is around 2,000 pounds, and we did the math, and if you have 25 people who weigh 140 pounds each, what did it come out to? 3,500 pounds. So the vehicle with around 25 people in it was way over weight capacity. Joe Hart, we talked about the SpaceX thing earlier in the broadcast. You can go rewind and check it out. Did I say Texas? Did I misspeak? Some people said it was California. Yeah, if I said Texas, I didn't mean it, because it was Imperial Valley, California. Sometimes I say things and I don't know what I'm saying, and I say something I don't intend to say. Linda says that is why we need a flipping wall. Well, the issue there was not that there was a wall there, but they seem to have figured out how to breach the wall. Kimberly says they did say that weight may have affected braking steering. Hey, thank you, Kenneth Colton. That's very kind of you. Kenneth Colton, I really appreciate your support. Thank you, Kenneth. Beth says they were not farm workers. I don't know who they were. I haven't heard reliable reporting about who they were. It's being investigated right now. With the crash, 7 San Diego says it's not clear if the SUV ran the stop sign or had stopped before entering the highway. How fast both vehicles were going also wasn't yet known. A 1997 Ford Expedition can carry a maximum payload of 2,000 pounds. If it had 25 people inside, that would easily exceed the payload limit, taxing the brakes and making it tougher to steer the vehicle. Well, there you go, said the former head of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's Office of Defects Investigation. You're going to have extended stopping distances, delayed reactions to steering inputs, and potential overreaction to any type of high-speed lane change, he said. Interesting. Yeah, the SUV pulled in front of the tractor trailer, which was going down a highway. The SUV pulled in front of it from a road with a stop sign. Thanks for your kind words, Robin Banks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I said Texas. I didn't even know I said Texas, because I certainly wasn't thinking Texas. I'm thinking 1/6 says, I'm sure they were here to earn money, whether by farming or other means. Although if it's human trafficking, they could have been, forced to come to earn money or something. So, hold on a second. More on Saudi Arabia. A blast sound was heard in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia about 45 minutes ago, but we haven't heard more about that. That's from No, It's My Turn. I'm wondering if hang on one sec, folks. I'm wondering if hold on a second, let me see this. What is this now? I'm looking at another video which is possibly from Myanmar. What is this? Hold on a second here. Hang on. Possibly a video of police or soldiers beating somebody up. It's kind of hard to see, though. I'll have to look at that later. Okay. I'm wondering, I think we covered the big stories I intended to cover. So I'm wondering, we could do in the last couple of nights we've done like a news stream, and then I did a Lookner stream right after the news stream. So I'm wondering if maybe we should just do a Lookner stream right after this. We could do that because I don't really have. I think we covered the major news stories I wanted to cover, so that might be the best thing to do that. We'll see what people say. See what the viewers say. What did I do here? Some people are saying yes. Yeah, why don't we do that? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this stream right here, our news roundup stream. If there's big news tonight, I'll come on the air on Agenda Free TV and do a news stream. It just depends on what happens with the news. I'll be keeping up with what's going on in Myanmar. But this was like just a roundup stream. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to wrap up this stream, and then we'll do a stream over a non-news stream over on Lookner channel. That's a different channel. And that's here. That's only on YouTube. Here, Lookner. That's what we're going to do, a stream there, a non-news stream. So if you want to come over there, in about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes after this stream ends, I will be over there doing a stream there. Jonah Katz, if there was something really crazy in Saudi Arabia going on, I think we would have heard it by now. Okay, I really appreciate you guys joining for this news roundup. Thanks for all of your participation. A lot of interesting comments and points you guys made in the news tips. So thanks for watching, and thanks also for participating in this interactive news coverage. A huge thanks to our moderators. The moderators are all volunteers. They're awesome. Give it up for the moderators, because they're the ones who really make the chats enjoyable and tolerable. So Mark Helton, Sarah Joy, Sarah 55. Let's give it up for them. Linda Belk, thank you, Linda. Then we had Dan Lindquist and Bud Green moderating there in Facebook. Thank you. We had a bunch of Twitch moderators too. Let's give it up for them. Duxor, Ellieborn, Kinpicky, LLQ, Lovely, Nightbot. Oh, Nightbot, Rifftrax, and Tariak. Nightbot helps us moderate on both Twitch and YouTube. And also, hold on a second, I got to do this. There we go. And also, okay, and also thanks to everybody who donated. That's really nice of you. Your support is how I do news coverage 7 days a week. That's because of you. So I really appreciate that you allow me to do this. So thanks for your support. If you do want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And I just remembered, man, I always forget this. I hope I didn't miss this. Whenever I'm doing the news roundups, I forget to check the Facebook stars. I think I thanked, yes, I didn't thank Darren Thompson. I thanked Patty Huddleston Looney before. I didn't thank Darren Thompson. Thank you, Darren Thompson and Patty Huddleston Looney, for the Facebook stars. And if you have any interest in being a volunteer moderator, ask the mods and they can give you more information on that. That would be awesome. And also follow me on Twitter. I post breaking news stuff whenever I'm awake. day and night on Twitter, at Lookner on Twitter. You can follow me there. Subscribe to this channel. Well, remember, I have the main news channel is Agenda Free TV. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching Agenda Free TV too. But the main news channel is Agenda Free TV. So subscribe to both of those if you're on YouTube, or just Agenda Free TV on another platform. If you're on YouTube, you want to click the bell and choose all notifications, all. And I will be going on YouTube after this on my channel Lookner. We will be doing a non-news stream. And the best way to get notified when I'm coming on the air is, so you don't miss a live stream, is to sign up for the Discord notifications. Those are free, they're easy. We do it through Discord. And if you have the Discord app on your phone, like I do, the notifications will pop up right on your phone when I'm going on the air. So check out the Discord notifications. You can find the link at the bottom of the YouTube video description. And also, the mods can post that link as well. All right. Thank you to our viewers, J. Jacob Design. Yeah, Linda says, don't ask about Periscope. We only got a few more weeks on Periscope, so don't ask about Periscope. Modding. J. Jacob Design, thank you. Bad Ragwall, thanks for watching. Now is the time. Not cupcakes. Dave NW, name is Nick, and other Periscope viewers, thank you for watching there. Thank you, Shaggy, for watching, and Twitch. Cinnamon Frosted Pecans, Stray Light. Boss a Supernova, Peckerman, Farabute. Ben Northern Lights, Yang Chat. And Oliver, One Rabbit Eve. Adults only, and all our other Twitch viewers. Reaper Extra. Did somebody want a link to somebody said link for YouTube on Twitch. I don't know if they meant the Lookner channel or another channel, but if you go to YouTube, easy to find. If you look up Lookner, you'll find out my personal channel. Thanks to our Facebook viewers. Thank you. Duster Singer. Thank you, Duster Singer. Thanks for thanking the moderators as well. Sama. Thanks for watching. Patty Rohick Schonbein. Nicolette Geese. Helene Bemis. Dave Watson. Audra Gart. And our other viewers on Facebook and our YouTube viewers. Arizona Jumper Rebundles. Andy. Edward Kim. Joyce bought the Turkish snacks and they came yesterday. Enjoy them. Alibaba, Moo Moo. Dr. Fretlix, thank you for watching. Seize the Day, Nicole Wilson. June 0130, Matt Danger, Kay Gebhardt. Beth Stannard, Tony Del Monte. Erica Bowman. Boo Boo Nene, Rick Hoppy. Montpelier, Alibaba, Auric 3D. Joyce Kathy Williams. Cryptician, Hannah. Shrubby. Manic Miner. Kenneth Colton. And everyone else, thank you for watching here. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap up this stream, and then we're going to do a stream on Lookner channel, nighttime stream. And I hope to see you over there in a few minutes. So thanks again, and thanks to the moderators again. We will also certainly do more news streams soon. So that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon with more live news coverage right here on Agenda Free TV and Agenda Free TV 2.